listening to the Alan Autry Show on the best talk in town. Talk Radio 1550 KXEX. Call Alan now, 559-899-1550.
And welcome to Alan Autry No Retreat. I'm Alan Autry, so honored and humbled to have you here from noon to 1 p.m. We'll be getting it on and bringing it on. All the subjects. Do I sound like an AM DJ? That's an old Kino voice there. Big Wednesday. We had Monday, can't trust that day. Taco Tuesday, and you missed out on the tacos.
Is that
Moreno? Yeah, you were there. They just 20
they were
pack.
delicious.
Alan, I have
That 20 pack went like that. These Generation Z kids around here just jump that up like starving dogs in a meat house.
I have tacos every day.
Yeah,
the
best kind, the real food.
The stereotype is true, but they're vegetarian. It's fake meat.
Yeah, you don't
soy.
eat meat, do you?
Yeah, not.
But we start right off getting off topic, don't we?
We do.
We got all this important stuff, but I mean, we're breaking our record. Last time you were on, it took about 9 seconds to get off topic and into something that's totally frivolous and innocuous that people don't care about.
Exactly.
And we're asking them to tune in for the best talk in town.
KXEX, but sometimes you got to get entertained because the news is so heavy, right? The news is so heavy.
Agreed.
It ain't heavy. It's my brother. See, you don't even know that song.
No.
My boomers would have said, they would at least gave me a courtesy laugh.
Well, he's even younger than I am.
The song,
I'm fine.
He ain't heavy. He's my brother. You haven't heard?
Never.
Oh, my, folks, help me. Help me. I'm right now in the studio. We got, okay, Matt, you're what? No, first of all, Larry, I know you tuned in. You're disappointed. Larry Powell is in Denver right now doing some very important work in regards to kids, in particular at-risk kids. He's part of an organization that does a whole lot, Learn for Life. And we're going to have their representative in here just doing some great things with at-risk kids. But Matt, I think Larry would say you sit in that seat well. But are you a generation what?
Gen Z.
Z.
You're Z.
Yep.
You
Millennial.
Millennial. And now you are older millennial or younger millennial?
I'm an older millennial.
Are you sure? Because the millennials go all the way up to like 40, right? 40, 41.
Well,
you're a mid-pack millennial.
I'm towards the upper age of the millennial. I have a sister who's at the tail end, and just between us is 10 years, and that is a huge difference.
Now, tail end means she's almost a Z?
She was born in 94, so right before you. So she made the cutoff. So I was kind of the latter years, and she was the and which it is kind of we do have a similar kind of lifestyle.
Really?
Yeah, it's weird.
So it is. These labels actually
do mean something.
To something.
Yeah, like with the internet around when your generation. I'm not saying you're really old, but
the internet.
Yeah,
it came out like the early 90s. You have Katie.
That's true.
They have shows where Katie Couric's asking. There's this thing called the internet. You know what that is? Yeah, I didn't know that Al Gore invented it.
Well,
you know
who
who invented the internet, folks? Seriously, the U.S. military.
Yep.
And just like the United States, let's share it with the world. Let's give it to the communist countries. But we got Jeremy Generation what? Z?
He's a man. You're
no. Okay, he's one of the young.
He's one of the young ones.
Like my son.
Yeah.
96, right there. 96, 95.
95.
And then we got Jose.
He's my age. I think he's my age.
If that's really his name.
I must have the Truth Ministry do some background check.
Oh, yes.
I heard him saying some interesting things about the January 6th events. Yes, Jose.
And we're actually hiring a new guy. His name is Igor. He hasn't arrived yet, but his resume looks great. No, I'm joking. Matt goes, "Are you serious?"
Well, you know,
I wouldn't be surprised.
well, you got Franz Funstapper, who is going to be the commandant of the Central Valley chapter of the Ministry of Truth. Joe Biden just appointed him, and we will have Franz Funstapper on the phone.
Funstapper.
Yeah. And his assistant, Wilhelm von Stoop, will be here and just going to tell us just what the Ministry of Truth is. Dispel all of this angst that we have about, trying to control speech and all of that. Franz, and Wilhelm will show us they have nothing to worry about.
Hold on.
Excuse me, I must make a phone call.
Oh man!
Let me combine this. Isn't it odd how the Biden administration has this Ministry of Truth, but yet we don't know who leaked the Supreme Court draft?
Isn't that sad?
They're so worried about the truth, and here the truth is being let out. Apparently,
right. They don't say anything about the leak. It's just like they're starving dogs in a meat house about the content. Oh, they're going to overturn. We got to pack the court. We got to pack the court. Shows you we need to pack the court. That's what's going to happen.
Oh, yeah. That's
They want to pack. Now, Matt, you're sitting there jumping out of your little millennial skin trying to get into something substantive. And I understand.
Well, no, I just wanted to add on the Ministry of Truth. I know. I just was on Twitter, and there's like a parody account of the Ministry of Truth, and it's a beautiful thing. You know, 200,000. They have a merch store too.
Already?
Yeah, they got like Camp Gulag shirts on there. It's good.
Which we will soon on the station be visiting, you and me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's now I heard that they're already going after meaning the WFL, the woke far left, are already going after Twitter sponsors and telling them, yank it, Musk owns it, yank your ads. You think they're going to?
No.
Too much money, or just
yeah, I think Twitter's too big to fail, to be honest with you. When and I was mad at Twitter when they got rid of Trump, right? So I was like, man, all of us conservatives, let's just get off of Twitter. Then it really didn't. That didn't move the needle.
Nothing. That's what they wanted.
Nothing.
That's what they want.
Exactly. So I think now with Elon Musk, hopefully that whole transaction gets finalized and he does actually privatize it and take it over. I hope that the left does what they want to do, and I don't think nothing's going to happen. It's too big to fail.
And let's face it, I hate to say this. I wish I was wrong. But Parler ain't going to cut it.
No.
The Truth Network.
Truth Social.
The Truth Social.
Don't even get me started.
Oh, Truth Ministry with the Truth Social.
We can't even create an account.
Oh, what was the head of Truth Social? Oh,
we tried this morning.
We tried. Were we successful?
Not yet.
Wait a minute. You tried to get on what, Truth Social?
Yeah, Truth Social.
And you couldn't get on?
Yeah.
Because of what? Glitches?
Yeah, I don't know.
That ain't good.
Yeah, it's not good.
When
Devin, I know. Hey, when Devin took that job, he had no idea. I did one of these days on the show. I'm going to have you guys on. It'll take about a week of shows to tell you my 9 months with Trump.
You had 9 months with Trump?
As mayor of Fresno, he wanted to come and build that golf course. I dealt with Michael Cohen. I dealt intimately, well, not that intimately, but with Michael Cohen.
You got to be careful with those words with Michael Cohen.
Exactly. Ivanka came out. Don Jr. came out. And Donald Trump came out. I was in constant cut for 9 months on this thing. And interesting stuff because it's some stuff people that love Trump are going to like. Some they won't. But I promised you honesty. And when I tell this story, you're going to see a side of him that, he's a businessman. And he demands success for his people, or you don't stay around. That thing, that Celebrity Apprentice, you're fired.
Yeah.
That's him. And Devin, and he works his people like plow mules.
You'd mention that.
Devin went for that cushy Congress job. He's his own boss, right?
Yep.
And I'm going, dude, I don't know how much he's paying you. Devin, I love you, brother. But man, you're stepping into something. Did you see he's aged?
I haven't seen him.
I saw him on his talk shows. He's been through the Trump ringer.
Oh,
really?
Man.
You think that Trump's going to say we're obviously not the only ones, you guys, that can't get on Truth Social. This is going to get back to Trump, and Trump ain't going to like it.
Yeah, you have a conservative radio station in Devin's backyard. They can't get on to Truth Social. My wife got on. My wife got on.
No, she got on Truth.
She got on Truth Social.
Is Truth Social canceling people? Are they canceling us?
I don't know, but my wife does have Russian roots, so I don't. Maybe.
Were you a never Trumper at one time in your life?
Never. I was his
delegate.
delegate.
Right in the eye and say that.
I was his delegate at the 26. Well, I was an alternate delegate. That means I wasn't important enough.
So they all said, "You're not an El Camino Republican like Mitt Romney, are you?"
Trust me.
You're an El Camino Republican. Are you a truck or are you a car?
That's so good. It's
Isn't
so
it?
good. We had like milquetoast conservative, but
No,
El Camino Republican.
Exactly.
I like it.
And you know what that phrase to me means, guys? This is ours. We're going to send it out to the world because I think it's very appropriate. It doesn't mean that you as a Republican don't work with the other side to seek good answers and solutions to problems facing the country. That Reagan did that. All the great Republicans did that. A El Camino Republican, for example, means that you espouse free speech, you espouse that you have to have law and order, you espouse that our children need to be taught in school, reading, writing, and arithmetic, not be taught racist, and you go out and march in a BLM rally.
Yeah,
you become an ally.
Preach it.
That's
Preach it.
Right?
Yeah.
That's you've. That's not being politically able to work with the other side and being a good representative. That's completely because it was a BLM deal. And you get out there and they're chanting, police fry 'em like, wrap 'em in bacon, fry 'em like bacon. type deal.
Yeah.
Down with the police, and there's Mitt. There.
Yeah, and
in his magic underwear, just walking along saying, "I support BLM." That's to me is just an example of what and I hate to say this, and we'll get on with the show here. I personally like Mitt. I've met him on several occasions.
I liked him too.
I spent quite a bit of time for an outsider. I'm not in the circle, but Mayor Reardon was very close to him, and Reardon was close to me because I supported him as when he ran for governor here in California, and got to know him, got to get inside the inner circle somewhat. Very charming man. His wife is very nice too. So, but we have an obligation here, and you on your show, and I've got to commend you, Guillermo. That's why I call him one of the most important voices on radio today, here in Little Fresno and Little KXEX 1550, because Guillermo's philosophy is, listen, I'm going to do my best to discern what the truth is in the situation. And wherever that truth leads me, I'm going to share it with my audience, at least the truth the way I see it. I'll tell you if it's my opinion. I'll tell you if I think there's enough to back it up to call it fact. And many times that puts you at odds with people that you personally like.
Yeah.
But isn't that required in today's world if we're going to get out of this disinformation morass, all of this world of intimidation, that you're afraid to say this over here, you can get canceled, or you might get not invited to the party, Matt, here in Fresno locally.
Yeah.
Oh, you say something that that's controversial in terms you don't agree with the mayor on certain things. Next thing you know, you don't get to go to the party at River Park.
Darn.
You're off the list.
Yeah.
You get.
It's true. I've disagreed with virtually every Republican, and I've agreed with every Republican.
On certain things.
And same thing with the left. I've actually agreed on some of the stuff that they have done locally, mostly not, but anything recent. But you're right. This is a search now for the truth, and it's a shame that talk radio opinion heads have to be searching for the truth.
Yes, and let's clear it up right now. That, in my mind, which is the only mind I have, does not make you an El Camino Republican.
Nope.
There's a clear distinction. You suddenly come in and say, I'm on abortion on demand and I'm going to a rally, you're an El Camino Republican.
Agreed.
I know Guillermo was doing that yesterday. No.
Wait a minute.
He's all like,
all right, Matt. Okay, let's hear what before we even take a break. We will in just a second. That's my little code to the control booth that I'm getting ready to do a break, so the music times out
very discreet,
seamlessly, like we're just like a.
I know we're gonna hear Alan belt it here on the radio. Some entertainment for the listeners.
Yeah, I'm just chasing that elusive butterfly of love.
Yeah. And I just wanted to add on that Mitt Romney thing.
Please do.
Yeah, he was saying that yesterday. I guess he has to disguise himself when he goes out into public. Because he's scared of the MAGA people, and also Joe Biden is. I know we're going to get to that later, but
MAGA people.
Yeah.
When it's all of these people on the left, it's like David Chappelle. We're going to get into that act on stage, and he's actually afraid of that, the MAGA.
Yeah, he goes out with hats and different coverings.
The lowest crime rate of any political group in terms of gun violence? The NRA. They have almost 0.1. You don't see. If somebody was arrested and they gun crime and they were in the NRA, it would be everywhere. They just don't do. All right, this is Alan. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I got a joke. Mitt Romney, Ms. Doubtfire. You see Ms. Doubtfire walking down the street. It's Mitt Romney.
Oh, it's Mitt Romney.
Mitt Romney. Call Ms. Doubtfire. El Camino Republican or Ms. Doubtfire.
No, it's Ms. Doubtfire driving in El Camino. That's what you want.
It's pure delecto. It's pure delecto,
That would be so. That's what Mitt Romney would look like if he decided to transition. All right. This is Alan Autry. No retreat. We'll be right back.
Oh, man.
Why did you put that image in my head?
I couldn't. It was right there. I was like, I got to get this out,
I
Alan.
can see it like Mitt Romney, Mrs. Doubtfire, driving, having road rage in the El Camino. This is my lane. This is my lane.
I'm telling you.
You cut me off.
That's before your time, though.
No, I know Miss Doubtfire.
Ms. Doubtfire?
Yeah, that's like one of those movies.
Who played Mrs. Doubtfire?
That's Robin Williams.
Wow.
Yeah, I know my movies.
Okay, all right, I'm going to go back
for
it. I'm going to see how far you can go back. Similar storyline. Who played the role of Tootsie?
Huh?
Another male impersonating a woman and fooling people. Like
this is a movie.
God, Lord, you give him eyes, but you
Yeah, I'm
You
just
give them
texting
ears, but they
somebody
do
right
not hear.
now. You know, I'm just
Google
texting somebody.
Tootsie.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Dustin, you got to watch it. Very
Dustin
funny.
Hoffman.
Yes.
Well, you just started saying Dustin, and I know
Yes.
Dustin Hoffman, and they're about the same age.
Dustin Hoffman.
Tootsie.
Brilliant performance.
He
You'll
played
like
a
it.
woman?
Yeah, and it still holds. I think the storyline is he's an out of work actor.
Okay, I got it.
And-
1982. 1982.
Well, that's a long time ago, isn't it, folks? Boomer, millennial, Z's.
I know we learned something. Oh yeah, no people.
What
Put
will
Dustin Hoffman.
What will Jose and his wife's children be?
They'll be. I don't know what this new generation is.
They haven't labeled them yet.
Well, you know what?
Nothing like a good label.
The Homeland
Never
generation.
like putting people in a nice group.
No kidding. It was. They were thinking of names, and I think one of the options was the Homeland generation.
Homeland.
Yeah, that was one of the. I don't know what they settled on, but that was one of the names.
Okay.
It's insane.
Yeah, it was also funny.
But you know, what you have noticed though, I'm asking it because I don't look at it much, research it. I don't particularly like labels, but you do find that there are similarities that when they say, you see articles, here's what the millennials like, here's what they don't like, here's their personality. You do find there's some truth to that. That there's a common.
Absolutely, it's a
I wonder what it
technology.
is for boomers. What do they say about us? Do you know? Have you read? Or you just care about your millennials?
That's a millennial thing. We just don't care about anybody besides our coffee, besides our Starbucks. And
That's something that's kind of like creeped into like Gen Z too, because like there's like coffee shops, but there's just tons of different coffee shops now. Like there's a culture around
yeah, I
it,
know.
you know?
Our age was Starbucks. Like it was, you got to go to Starbucks. Now it's starting to.
It's like
Ours was Mel's Diner.
Huh?
Bill's Diner.
Mel's Diner.
I can't believe those are still a thing.
Huh?
Diners like Denny's
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
Like I can't. I don't like Denny's. You like Denny's?
Yeah, every time I go to Denny's, I never feel good.
Let me
walking
tell you.
out.
Right,
Let
it's
me
weird.
tell you
Eat it,
something.
yeah.
though. Let me tell you something. There's something to be said for
30 seconds.
average. Okay. Good. Not great. Everybody wants great bill. Denny's is going to be average. You're going to get a average to good omelet, pancake. You're not going to knock your socks off.
Are you making an argument for mediocre food?
Yes. Being a mediocre talent, why would I not?
Let's bring Waffle House into.
I've
you know,
defied,
Yeah.
I've defied the Peter principle my whole life. You know what the Peter principle is?
I actually don't know.
That's kind of... We having some fun here.
You're listening to the Alan Autry Show on the best talk in town. Talk Radio 1550 KXEX. Call Alan now. 559-899-1550.
Oh, welcome back to Alan Autry No Retreat with Guillermo Moreno and Matt White, sitting in for Larry Powell today. And look, we got so much to cover, so many subjects. We're not going to get to them all. We'll get to them on Thorough Thursday. Finally found a name for it, at least a working title for it. But yes, we're going to talk about the Supreme Court decision that was leaked, the ramifications of that, reverberating people. That's what everybody's talking about, the attack on of the Ukraine, the invasion of Ukraine. Nothing like an abortion story to wipe that off the front page,
Yeah.
which is kind of sad, but a lot happening on that front as the war seems to be drifting in a certain direction that I predicted on this show when this whole hullabaloo started. Yes, I was surprised that he invaded. But once he did, it's kind of, and I'm not the brightest chrome on a bumper. You just have to do a little homework on Putin, look at the situation, and let logic and common sense be your guide. You would come to the conclusion that we would be where we are today in that war. But let's talk about David Chappelle, because there's this rising, I don't know, it seems like folks just feel like they can express their displeasure in a violent way with no repercussions. With Will Smith, some people laughed about that, but to think he felt he could just get up and slap the crap out of a fellow comedian on worldwide television, not have repercussions. You're getting a lot of sporting events, especially youth events, where they're attacking referees, parents are. You're having attacks and professional athletes coming out on the board against professional athletes. And then Tuesday night, David Chappelle, I don't know, where was he, Matt?
Hollywood Bowl.
Was it
Hollywood Bowl.
Hollywood Bowl.
Oh, in L.A. Crazy person in L.A. attacks. How unusual.
Surprising.
But this guy attacks him and apparently had a gun and a knife. And Chappelle, tell us a little bit about that, Matt. Guillermo, your thoughts on that? I have a thought. It's not going to be, probably folks aren't going to like it, but it's my main thought out of that. But you guys go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just a kind of like the acceptability of like, almost violence. We were doing the show last night and it was like people were like, oh, well, Roe v. Wade's going to get overturned and we need to do something that starts with a V and ends with an E. And it's not vote. And you're like, man, it's like this acceptability in the culture now of like, you can just go out and do whatever we want.
Do you think Guillermo, you have a point. Now, the deal is what caused, the cause and effect in this thing. What do you think the riots of 2020, where you saw people doing, young people in particular, really egregious things? I mean, burning down federal buildings, burning down cop cars, hitting cops over the head with frozen water bottles, baseball bats, shooting to death of Officer David Dorn. You just saw, and then you see nothing happening to these people. And then when they get put in jail, you have Kamala Harris leading an effort to bail them out.
Yeah.
Do you think that had an effect on saying these minds that may be just teetering between, being able to hold the line in a sane way and going off, said, hey, here's my approval to just act out violently?
We were talking about the generational shift between the boomer, millennial, and Gen Z. There really is a generational shift now with this younger generation, and it's all about ideology. Ideology has become religion, just like political parties has now become religion. These political parties, these ideologies are followed more and are held more sacredly than religion, which is why you saw the left going crazy yesterday saying, we got to burn it down. Like, we can't handle, we got to burn it down.
So there's no facts or argument or whether that's going to get that individual off them because it's a religion.
It is.
It's their faith.
And it's infectious. And I'll be honest, I'm always honest. During the Trump years, I saw a lot of conservatives, and I did it at times. There was things when, and I was like, well, wait a minute, Trump said it. So, we got to go along with it. Mm-hmm. Like, well, wait a minute. No, let's stop and think about this. That's not right. Even if he is, one of the things was criminal justice reform that Trump did. I'm just not for it. Like, I don't care if he had Ivanka out there. I don't care if he had Kim Kardashian out there. I'm just not for it. But we get into this groupthink where ideology governs the day, and it's sad because you see more and more people more faithful to an ideology and a political party than you do the church.
The mood of the moment.
Yeah.
The power of the mood of the moment. Thomas Sowell, who I quote quite often, if you watch the show or listen to the show, you know of what I speak. But Thomas Sowell said something brilliant. He says, it doesn't matter how smart you are if you don't stop and think. And we've got to stop and think when we hear something. Instead of reacting, we need to respond. People say, well, isn't that the same thing, Alan? No. The reaction is, you hit me, I'm going to hit you right back. That's a reaction. Instead of, boom, okay. Now, if your life is threatened, immediate danger, like you're Chris Rock, okay, he responded. He could have went and jumped on and Will Smith, but he responded. And because of that, there's a difference that can be shown of how you respond to situations of stress. Here's how Will Smith responded, but look how Chris responded.
Mm-hmm.
And Matt, what's your thoughts? Because
I just think it goes back to like the generational gap in terms of the way people respond. I think I have to agree with Guillermo on how it's become a religion because they've taken God out of everything, and we've seen the societal decay of what liberalism brings in its fullest extent. We're seeing liberalism played out to pretty much where our society is just decayed to such a point where people are like children now, and it's been decades of conditioning for our young people. It started with the participation trophies and the different things, and young people just being like, oh, you're good, you're perfect the way you are, and this and that, and you can act and respond any way that you please because that's been the conditioning.
But my question was, and I agree with you.
Yeah.
What effect do you think the riots and the unpunished violence that happened throughout all of 220 had an effect, if any, on this increase in violence that we're seeing? This whole thing that there's not going to be really any consequences for me attacking someone. Because I saw that on TV.
Zero. The protests of last year, I think, it's a 24-hour news cycle. They really don't care. But the fact that, you're right, this goes unpunished, that's what's really starting to rule the day. But I want to go.
That's my point.
Like
it had to have an effect.
Exactly.
You know what? Go ahead.
There's no punishment. And it's same thing in the home. These kids are growing up in homes where unfortunately, there's no father figure, there's no discipline. And even if both parents are home, the kid is the parent. And you start seeing this more in the educational realm where the kid becomes the parent. But let's go back to Dave Chappelle and what happened in Will Smith. Back in the day, back in the 60s and 70s, you had people that could hear different opinions and articulate an argument. And it's called dialogue, right? You can have this dialogue.
Debate.
And then when the internet came in, and then with social media, you had this debate kind of going on until that got censored, right? Mm-hmm. And that was kind of the realm of how you got ideas out. Now it looks like Hollywood and everyone else is giving the inclination that, hey, listen, they just don't want to listen. They just don't want, we can't have a discussion, so go beat the living daylights out of them.
And isn't it Twitter in particular where it is? And again, it's the world we live in now. It's all about who can come up with the most creative insult in response.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's clever. Oh, did you hear what we were talking about before the show? Oh, did you hear what was said about this and that? The clown pill. Yeah. So and so said, "Oh, you're taking the clown pill." Then somebody comes up with another one. Boy, that was a clever way to put that person down. I came up with the Millie pill. I'm going to still know who this guy was. The clown pill. I guess he's pretty popular. I liked it. Now you're taking the clown pill again when you're off the rails. That's okay. You're not calling a name. Yeah. You're not calling them idiots. I won't call anybody an idiot. I may say they're doing idiotic things, their behavior, but them as a person, I won't condemn anybody to hell. That's God's job. But I think absolutely those riots in 2020 and the lack of punishment, consequences, has played a great deal in all these things that are happening on the airlines. Mm-hmm. This kid thinking he can just go up to Mike Tyson. What did Mike Tyson do? Okay. And I hate to say this, but I'm going to say it because I believe it. This guy who attacked David Chappelle, did you see what happened to him? He got his freaking arm pulled out of the socket. He's being carried off, wheeled off of there with his elbow pointing that way and this part of his arm there. And you know what I have to say to that? Good. I'm glad. Good for the security people.
Yeah.
If he was dead, no. He had a knife and a gun. He attacked someone on stage. And you got to send a message that if you do this sort of thing, as Al Davis said, never thought I'd quote Al Davis, we're going to take you down, and we're going to take you down hard.
Yeah.
The quarterback's got to go down hard. We ain't going to play games. Because I would ask people, okay, let's take this a step further. Matt, Guillermo, people listening, people on social media, you're at home at night with your kids. Jose's at home with his kids. We're all home. Say it's your home. You hear a pounding at your door. Boom, boom, boom. You look outside through the peephole, and you see this person you don't know. No color, just a dude with a hood on, what have you, with a gun in one hand, a knife in the other, saying, I'm going to freaking kill everybody in there. And he starts beating on the door, stomping on the door, and you see the door starting to give. You get on the phone, a 911. Do you want them to send to your house Andy of Mayberry or Dirty Harry?
Yeah.
Who do you want coming to your house under those conditions? If you're David Chappelle and you're David Chappelle's mama, or if his kids, or we're here at the radio station and something happens here like that, and we got to call. Your wife says, man, they better send Dirty Harry.
Oh, yeah.
I'd rather watch Andy Mayberry reruns. Nice guy. Doesn't carry a gun.
Yeah.
His assistant, Barney, has one bullet. And you have Dirty Harry, whose job is, I'm going to go stop the bad guy from hurting innocent people. Who do you think most people are going to say?
Oh, yeah. Well, I go further and get the Punisher.
Yeah. But you know full well, they didn't have to break his arm. They didn't have to. Besides, he doesn't like trans people. He deserved what they got. I'm telling you, it's out there already.
People can't take a joke these days. And Chris Rock and Dave Chappelle are both comedians. You know what they have in common? They make fun of everybody. They make fun of, they don't care if
including themselves.
Including themselves, including Hollywood, including black, brown, white, Republican, Democrat, LGBTQ, straight, not whatever. They make fun of everybody. We're living in a really sad state where you have to take everything so seriously. You can't say that because you're going to hurt my feelings. Why are you looking at me that way? Is it because I'm Latino? I mean, everyone has this. It's like an eggshell.
Would you go to your cry room and think about this for a moment? That's the only safe space we have. We have a cry room here at KXCX.
Yep.
Yeah. We do?
I go there after.
You're there all the time.
No, I hear you. I hear you guys. We're going before we go to break here, there's my signal again to set up the exit music. We're going to go to Lynn Holt from Alabama. and she's going to give us, I hopefully, a good report on her son. Lynn, are you there? Lane? Lane? There we go. Oh, there you are. I hear you now. Guillermo.
How are you?
You know I'm better than I deserve. Thank you. Says you got an update on your boy?
Yeah, he graduates rehab on the 11th.
Oh,
that's awesome.
praise
Congrats.
the Lord. All right. That's great. Have you been
Yes.
able to go into the rehab and see your son? Or
No,
Okay.
but I do get to talk to him every night, and he is doing great.
Well, I tell you what, when
he has accomplished third chair in the meeting. I don't know what that means, but
it's
a
good.
thing.
That's good. Obviously, that's
and,
good.
And I also have a question that I am dying to ask you.
See, I'm sort of Spanish. See? Okay.
Especially since y'all were talking about Mrs. Doubtfire and Tootsie.
Yes.
I want to know how it would have been if Bubba Skinner had met Medea and had to arrest her.
Medea?
Miss
Yes.
Medea. I would say, Miss Medea, Chief, would like to come on down to the station and answer a few questions. You mind coming with me?
You know what she'd say
She
now.
She's, I ain't going nowhere. I'll deliver that, Miss
Just
Chief.
say,
You have a good
"Honey,
day now.
you cute."
Yeah,
But I
honey,
ain't
you're
going to no
cute.
jail. I'll go with you somewhere, but you cute.
She'd probably
But I ain't going
hit.
to no jail.
She'd probably hit on Bubba.
Well, I'll say, let's go down to the diner. And have a little, we don't have a Starbucks here in Sparta. But we'll go down to the cafe and have us a little coffee and talk about it. Well, you know what? That would be great because you know what?
What?
The writers, I don't know what happened to them. Carol was overseeing it all. God rest his soul. But on that link, that show, I think I talked about it the other day. 7 seasons, I had 3 girlfriends on the show.
Yes.
Oh, that was real life.
No, on the show, Bubba had interest in 3 girls. And they all wanted to kill him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they all wind up trying to kill him. And I'm going after the third one. You're going.
They should have left Bubba with the lady lieutenant.
Yeah,
in
they
the
were all crazy,
episode
wanted to
of
kill
A
me.
Small War because she was perfect for him.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I could after the third one, I went to them. I go, what's going on? I think they forgot.
They're trying to kill you off.
Yeah, but they never did. I would have taken that. I'm on my third show going, I've grabbed the woman with the knife twice already on this show coming after me. Here's the other episode. Anyway, that's good. Hey, Lynn, do me a favor. We got to go to break now. But
Okay.
when your boy gets out, if he would like to come on the show with you and tell us about the experience, I think it could be very inspirational to folks. Addiction is something that has affected pretty much every family
I
in
will
America.
certainly tell him.
Unfortunately. Okay.
Congrats.
God bless you. Thank
I'll
you,
love
Lynn.
you, big brother.
Thank you, little sister. We'll be right back. What a good story. Oh, yes. Sing us out, Ray. Oh, yeah.
Love this one.
Okay, when we come back, here's what we got. We can go wherever you guys want to go. I'd like to this. Well, you touched on it, the abortion being, basically a religion on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. It's obviously right to life. People mostly are people of faith. It's from the biblical right to protect children and life. And the left has adopted a woman's right to terminate that pregnancy as a religion. And it's like, where do you go there? And you know what I think? I think just don't cancel anybody. Let knowledge, as you say, lead the way. Because in 1973, they didn't have images of that baby in the womb.
Very good point.
They had nothing. It was just a guess. And then the sonogram, I think is what it's called, came along. They become even better and better at showing pictures of this baby. And you see a baby at 15 weeks, which is a Mississippi law, that you can't terminate. You go, wow, 2 eyes. Wow. And that's a child. So the question is, and I know it gets really tedious. And I want to give a shout out to Laura. I hope you're listening. I think you are. Gosh darn it, I love the show the other day because Laura had an instance happen to her in her life experience and run contrary to my take on some areas, my position on abortion. And she made a very good case, very heart-wrenching case in many ways about why she feels this is bad to overturn Roe versus Wade. And we were able to go through that. But,
Yesterday's show?
Yes.
Really?
At the end, we're still friends. We disagree passionately about that. But, we respect each other. I go as far as say it. Love each other. We love, mankind as Christians. And we're able to say, okay, how about this other subject that we agree upon? And as long as you're respectful, you can have those deep differences without being mean-spirited, without being vicious, without being disrespectful. And we had a great conversation. I did it. And she brought up good points. Bullet Bob was on yesterday. We talked about it. And I'll tell you, this is what I said about this show when I first got behind this mic. We welcome contrary views to mine. Guillermo does. Matt does. That's what we want to walk the talk in terms of free speech. And if I start editing, now if you come on here and just want to scream and yell and call names of Republicans or Democrats, that's not stimulating conversation. It's just, but you want to come in and make a case like Laura did.
30 seconds.
This show will be open to you. And we take a little bit of heat, for that from time to time.
We're real human beings, and the Democrat Party and everything else. When you look at the big things, everything's been so politicized, so desensitized.
Absolutely.
And we're real people.
Absolutely. Okay, we're going to start
10
off.
seconds.
You're listening to the Alan Autry Show on the best talk in town. Talk Radio 1550 KXEX. Call Alan now. 559-899-1550.
And welcome back to Alan Autry, No Retreat with Guillermo, Moreno, and Matt White. Okay, the debate on abortion is going to be here before us between now, the midterms in November. The leak is one thing that, I think is horrible. The one institution you thought may be impervious to that kind of nonsense. Obviously, there's a clerk in there somewhere, I think, that works in there that wanted to bring this out and hopefully have an impact on the midterms. But let me just, I think they're really misreading this. In particular, the woke far left, Biden, and the whole Democratic machine of how the minority community is going to react to this. It's not 1973. I said we know more. And the African-American community knows more. They know they have been lied to by many folks, including those who purport to be watching their back. When they were actually watching their back, they were putting a knife in that back. They're starting to figure out this whole abortion thing and Planned Parenthood. They're starting to now figure out the education system, how poor kids, especially kids of color, are trapped in their zip code schools that are not allowed to get out. There is such a thing as a voucher. It's out there. There's a voucher leaguer. It's called a home in an affluent community. You get a home in there, you can get your kid to a good school. But the poor folks here in this country, which that's my lineage, don't have that kind of money to buy that voucher. But just take these numbers. Since 1973, 62 million, they think that's conservative, 62 million babies gone to abortion. 9 million black babies. 9 million. Do you imagine if you had 9 million black folk in this country, what a force they would be?
Mm-hmm.
And you listen to the left and they say, well, all those 9 million, because of their circumstances that the mother was in, would have grown up to be criminals. How racist is that? They're born, the mother doesn't know who the daddy is. The mother is a poor neighbor, doesn't have a job, maybe on drugs or that sort of thing. That kid's not going to have a life. Sitting there playing God, writing that kid off instead of letting that kid have a chance to write his or her own story. They've been talking the best thing to terminate it. And I'm going to get feedback because around the country, go around the world, there's a lot of countries that have abortion. But almost all of them, none of them have abortion on demand, just a couple around the country. You wonder why they hate us. The others have, after 15 weeks, you can't do it. Abortion with restrictions is what they call it. And then many countries require that the mother, the prospective mother, have counseling before they have the abortion, that they get listen to all the ramifications psychologically, what this does to you. Options for your baby if it's born. What do you think about it? Those numbers just made me sick to my stomach.
Well, and that's an undercount. And all around the world, the numbers are pretty high. Now, what really frustrates me is, the left has done a masterful job in marketing this topic as you want to control a woman. You just want to control women. We've allowed, unfortunately, the conservatives have allowed the left to pretty much write this narrative because we're not doing a good job in presenting the case that, hey, listen, these are babies that are no longer with us. That have rights. And then they turn it into, wait, when do these rights start? This is such a convoluted topic. And during the break, we were talking, we knew we were going to be talking about this next. I thought to myself, this topic isn't really about Republicans or Democrats. It's really about that young woman, or she might not be young, but that woman who always gets left out. If this were a true woman issue, the left would recognize, and like you said, how this decision would weigh on her heart. You can't just be, oh, no, go ahead and just abort it. And conservatives have to realize, hey, listen, we got to offer alternatives. And I talked about this with Matt yesterday. We as conservatives can't be, spiking the football. Spike the football with the overturning of Roe v. Wade. I agree with you 100%. But at the same time, you got to be there, and we got to be a force to be reckoned with. But hey, listen, we're here now. We can help you. Because these women are still going to be faced with these difficult decisions, and we have to give them options. If we don't give them options and we just say, ha, you can't have an abortion anymore, we're no better than the left.
Yes, because I agree with you. Because I think if you're given, when you go see a doctor, they always, and you get a diagnosis, they always say, go get a second opinion. It's a smart thing to do.
Yeah.
Okay, get an abortion. You should can I get a second opinion about this abortion if that's going to be good for me? Because obviously, if you're promoting an abortion, you're saying, this is good for you. This is the best thing for you. Your physical health, your mental health, your life. But you can only do that if you're not talking about another life. You can't refer to what's inside your body at that time as an independent life. It's just a part of your body. If you want to have a good life, you got to get rid of that appendix inside you.
Mm-hmm.
Just take the appendix out. The kidney, you can live with one kidney. Just take that kidney out. It's a part of your body. It's not a human being. Let's hear what Joe Biden has. We got that queued up. Here's Biden being in front of hearing the news about the Roe versus Wade. It looks like you got something.
No, I got some stuff.
Okay.
If it becomes a law, and if what is written is what remains, goes far beyond the concern of whether or not there is the right to choose. Goes to other basic rights: the right to marry, the right to determine a whole range of things. There is a right to privacy in our Constitution. I strongly believe there is. I think the decision in his law was correct overruling. I think the decision in Roe was correct because there's a right to privacy. There could be limitations on it, but it cannot be denied.
Again,
okay, we can get that. You know what he went on to say in that piece there? He referred to the unborn, the fetus as a child. He's taking a lot of heat. Joe misspoke again.
Yeah.
But he referred to it as a child. Matt, you've been saying.
Yeah, and I think the thing is, like you said it exactly, is they've kind of like dehumanized what the baby is. Like, oh, it's like an appendix, and most of the reasons why they kind of push abortions is it's like very utilitarian. It's very much like, well, it's just the most for the good of the person. So they're like, oh, well, they're already projecting how the baby's life is going to be. And then aside from that, I know when we were on the break, we were talking about how kind of like, we're real human beings, and you look at and you empathize with these people. But on the flip side of that, you look how much money abortion funds. Each abortion roughly makes them about $500. And then 365 days a year, 4,000 abortions a day, you're looking at $2 million a year, that Planned Parenthood is raking in in terms of all these different abortions. And
huge industry.
It's actually, I think it's $730 million total that they're bringing in. And these are funding, Democratic candidates. And when you look at it like that, you're like, well, it's just a big money-making operation. And they're funding the downfall of our country because we know what the Democrat policies are to help protect this. This is a big pillar of their movement. And you take that away, and I think that's why we're getting the reaction we're getting.
It is. You hit it right there. It's a pillar of their party. And this is why this leak happened, because they know this is a rallying cry. We can always count on this to help us get elected. The biggest argument for them is control, right? It's control.
Absolutely.
They're controlling the woman. You're controlling you evil conservatives, you white male conservatives, just want to tell women what to do. And I hear talking about it, I just realized, the left is controlling the women as well, because they're telling them, listen, this is your only option. You're poor.
That's good for you.
You're not. Yeah,
this is going to be
it's
good
control.
for you.
And we got to be better. Again, is that marketing? We got to be better at saying, no, listen, we don't want to control you. The left wants to control your decision and make you have an abortion.
Which it's all connected. It's not conspiracy theory. They're really after you. That's why they're so apoplectic, and you've got people at Twitter crying when Elon Musk takes over Twitter because he's going to turn that platform into a real open forum for these kind of discussions. So when the left says, look, you stop abortion, you know how much progress has gone forward with stem cells? We can't get stem cells unless you kill the baby. That's what, no. They've been able to get embryonic stem cells without killing a child for a long time. Yet if you had a controlled Twitter, Jack Dorsey-led Twitter, and this guy they got in there, bless his dark heart, that says we are not, the First Amendment is really not our first priority. That gives you an indication right now.
Sad person.
You kind of see it because their propaganda is in absolute war with common sense and decency when you think about it. Their propaganda that your only good choice is to kill a child, and to also say, have an ideology embraced that the best case scenario is that you kill a child. That's your ideology in terms of abortion. You have the best case scenario for you. That's the best case. It ends up with a dead baby. And I know people cringe. Alan, don't say that. Listen, we have to bring forth your debate like Laura did so eloquently. That's the way some folks see it. That doesn't make them Hitler. That's, and I look at, and I'm going to say this, and it sound like I'm trying to be funny about it, but I'm really not. It's a very serious subject. So I'm starting to think about it. This is how crazy the woke far left is. Now, I don't subscribe to this, but would I not, if I wanted to follow the woke far left, when they say to me, you're a white male, you have no business giving an opinion on a woman's rights to her in her own body, what she does with her own body. Okay. But over here, I just heard you, Kamala Harris, referring people as birthing people, that men could be birthing people. Well, I want to claim that as a birthing person. Therefore, I have a right to speak out on that as a male because I'm a potential birthing person. As a woman that may not be pregnant now, but she's potentially a woman that could have a child. You're telling me you won't say pregnant mother, you say pregnant birthing person. So why don't I, as a male, have a right to speak out just as you, as a mother or a woman, have a right to speak out?
That's one of the biggest points.
I mean, it's absurd. I mean,
it is.
They're hanging themselves with a noose of absurdity, but that's, if I embrace that woke far left, where am I wrong on this?
Well, that's why I wanted Justice Alito to refer to in his opinion as birthing people, so he can kind of just dig it in there and just kind of be that ultimate. But
would I?
troll.
Where am I wrong on
You're not.
in my deduction on this?
You're not.
If I follow the woke far left, they should welcome my opinion. Hey, birthing people all over there. You know, you guys with the birthing people with the beards. You birthing people with the beards, we need to hear from you.
And the hairy, I won't go there. But no, this is
You
often,
already did.
I did. This is not talked about, which is the male. You know, there's always a male, or maybe they're not around, but you have instances where the male probably.
But if you have a gender neutral world, you don't have a male and you don't have a daddy.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So that's how this all is connected. This is all. If you wipe that out, then you don't.
Yeah, and it goes back, and I want to use kind of
so
the abortion.
Confused.
Yeah, you know,
Mama, I want to go back to 1975 when life was simpler.
Oh yeah, no,
Okay,
very
go ahead.
much so, and like we see abortion, like I said, as one of the pillars, and then you look back at how very defensive they got with the State Department, the Education Department, when they were going after parents. You know, a couple months ago, you look at it as we are kind of really on the brink of something huge here with overturning Roe v. Wade, and then parents coming back and getting on the classroom is the left is having to confront pretty much everything that they've been pushing down our throats so rapidly this past year. And conservatives finally have a chance where we're like, we can actually get into office in 22 and actually wield power and actually turn the tide in the opposite, because now people are being confronted it face on now, and maybe they're going to rally their base around.
And I hope they understand if they get in the midterms, if it goes what we're expecting, and if we get the White House, I hope they really treat power like money in the bank.
100%.
You use it sparingly. If it's in the bank, it's drawing interest. Anytime you take that power out and you use it, you can misuse it, and you have less money in the bank. And that's how it should be with power. Be very, very careful how you use that power, because I think you may be right, and I think we got wars happening everywhere, the specter of nuclear, all of these things in society. As you said, Guillermo, be strong, have your firm principles, but welcome dialogue. Please, Republicans, don't spend, if you take over the House and Senate, a bunch of revenge commissions to put Hillary Clinton in jail or go after Adam Schiff or all of this
not
stuff.
Against that, but
I know a lot of people aren't.
But that's what they want.
It's going to be a temptation.
Yeah,
to go Old Testament.
Yeah.
Well, Old Testament, eye for an eye.
Very true. Very true.
And there's a part of it. We get it.
Yeah.
That's why the Pharisees didn't want to change. That's why they hung him on the cross.
Very true.
And they're going to hang a lot of Republicans who care about this country on the cross, because they're saying, well, no, my revenge to get back these people are going to override my sense of greater good for the country. And that doesn't mean you become an El Camino Republican.
Oh, yeah. Don't become an El Camino, but I think it's coming in. And the reason why I said it like that is Republicans have been so reluctant, because they're like, well, if we use power now, we're just bad as the left. No, and that's
use
what
power. You use it sparingly and in the right place.
100%.
If there's one person you would go after who's laid his rear out there, there's actually two of them. It would be Schiff and Swalwell. They have things that Schiff said, I had this information on Trump. He never did. Lie along the way.
What about Hunter?
Well, Hunter, that needs to go on. The Department of Justice has that open, so certainly you continue with that.
I say no.
No, you let the DOJ do it.
Biden is like, he's like an injured person. You're just kicking him
he's
while
not
he's
going
down.
to make it to the midterms.
Oh,
well, he's talking about running in 24.
He's going to run in 24.
No, he's
That's what people are saying.
He's not going to make it. He's not going to make it.
Oh, man.
Oh, the music comes.
Oh,
Roy
there we
Bell.
go.
You know Roy Rogers? You guys ever heard of Roy Rogers?
Yes,
You
sir.
heard
Only when you mention him.
Gosh. You know his real name was Leonard Sly.
Oh, really?
They changed his name. Yeah, Bullet Bob told me that. All right, folks. I hope you enjoyed with us as much as we enjoyed having you. God bless you. Got my hands full of these millennials and Generation Zs, but God, I love them like I love you. Just remember, do your best and let God do the rest. We'll see you tomorrow.